I'm on a pretty safe part of trail here. Probably don't need to use poles. Relatively flat. So maybe I'll pick up my thoughts from a few days ago on narrative. So, narrative. A narrative is a story, maybe a series of stories, fit into a cohesive whole anyway. It's a story from a particular perspective. Narratives are how we interpret the world, how we sort of deal with it, because the world's very complex and it can be scary and it can be this and that, and we try to understand, and narratives help us to do that. But the problem is, a narrative is a construction. And it's not all factually correct. And even when we are confronted by facts contrary to our narrative we have in our head, we cling to the narrative desperately. Ignore the facts, discount them. So today I was thinking about narratives with respect to other people, not necessarily the world at large, other people. When we think about other people, we carry all sorts of narratives. Can be stereotypes, racial, ethnic, prejudice, that kind of thing. I kind of don't want to deal with that because that's like its own separate thing. And that, to me, also fits into the realm of narratives we tell about the world, the larger world. I'm thinking about the narratives we make about people who are close to us, family, friends, and how narratives get built and how they get distorted. Obviously, if you're talking about a family member, the narrative we have in our head is incredibly rich, full of detail. Which can be a good thing and a bad thing. If it's incredibly rich and full of detail, there are more facts there too, embedded. The danger, not the danger. What happens if there is a break or a crack? The results can be that much more devastating. I was thinking about people who are close to us and where we may have narratives that don't correspond to reality. I think everyone who has survived puberty has had at least one or more experiences of unrequited love, probably on either end of that equation. And it's sort of one of those things that's necessary to grow up, Yeah. As you get older, those kinds of things are perhaps a little easier to deal with, but could be problematic too. Yeah. As opposed to a 13-year-old. And I'm going to be general about this, but I think back to when I was a young man, and I became aware of someone with whom I had what I considered a very casual relationship. But for her end was the real deal. Sorry, I've got to negotiate this. And it occurred to me as I was thinking about this over the last couple of days. In her mind, it went from one to the other in a period in which we never saw each other. Which you would think, well, why would you, how would that happen? Well, they say, absence makes the heart grow fonder. Maybe not. It occurs to me in this case, however, she projected all sorts of things onto me which were not there in the absence of me in the flesh, shall we say. And it occurs to me maybe that's more of a general principle than I would have thought. Her narrative didn't correspond to reality. And when reality came, it was not easy to deal with. It occurs to me also, oh my, I'm going through a lot of brush here. Well, maybe I can make it and talk, and maybe I can't. It occurs to me, I have great relationships with both my sisters, but I know people who don't, whose siblings, deep estrangement, and people who knew each other, intimately, and that if a break comes, it can be very devastating indeed. Lots of hurt. I've seen this in other people. Similarly, I've never been divorced, but it's almost cliche that when people divorce or start to break up or whatever, the acrimony just builds and builds, and stuff just comes out of nowhere. That's just irrelevant, because the concept we had for the other person didn't include this. The hurt, the rejection, the whatever. I was thinking of the movie, I think it's like Marriage Story or something like that, with Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson. And it starts out, and she's like in a therapist's office, and apparently this is like their marriage counseling, and she's listing all the good things about her husband, and then you see it all unravel, and then they decide to divorce, and it's all going to be like without lawyers and friendly and best of friends and this and that, and it ends up with both of them getting the best, nastiest divorce lawyers that they can get, because of the hurt, of the discontinuity between what we thought that person was, what that person really is. There's another one I was going to think of, but sorry, I just need to gather my thoughts here in this brush. It also seems to me that the narratives we tell ourselves about other people are heavily influenced by the narratives we tell ourselves about ourselves. And in that sense, they're just projections of these, not their own character, not their own circumstances, but who we are. And it occurs to me also, because the narratives we tell ourselves about ourselves are so profound, are so deep, are so embedded in not just our psychology, but our physiology, our homeostasis. How do we maintain balance in life? And to the extent that we project some of these narrative elements onto other people close to us is also an error. Sometimes with very catastrophic consequences, because now we're really far afield from reality. And speaking of being far afield in reality, I realized between this clip and the previous one that in talking and thinking, I had gone right by the side trail to a spring. I'm now more than half a mile on, and then it'd be another, I think, 0.2 or 0.3 down to the spring. So I'm not going to do that. I still have almost a liter of water, but it wasn't what I was planning on because my mind was elsewhere. Not on water, but on narrative. Here's a small camping area. Looks quite nice, actually. Tenting area. Maybe you could squeeze 2 in there, maybe. Depending on how close you want to get to your neighbors. But this is mile 1419.4. But it's actually a significant milestone for me. Because given the miles that I have skipped, right here, I'm halfway through the PCT miles. I've hiked half the miles of this year's PCT. So it's all downhill from here, maybe? Something like that, yeah. Okay, another milestone. Halfway done. So this is, what did I say earlier today? Day 70? Did I get that right? I think that's what it is. 140 days? It seems like I'm going too fast. Maybe I did the math wrong. I didn't do the math wrong on the halfway point. I got that one right. Maybe I got the wrong day.